Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
Once there was a kingdom where mirrors did not exist. All the mirrors had been broken into tiny pieces because the queen gave an order. If even the smallest piece of glass was found in a house, the queen would kill everyone in the house in a very painful way. Now, here's why the queen made this strange rule. The queen was very ugly, and she didn't want to see her face in a mirror. She knew she was not beautiful, so it made her happy to know that other women could not see that they were pretty. The young women in the kingdom were very unhappy. What is the point of being beautiful if you cannot look at yourself? They could have used water and rivers and lakes as mirrors. But the queen knew this, so she covered all the rivers and lakes with big, flat stones. People got water from very deep wells, so they could not see their reflection in the water. They also used small bowls instead of buckets because reflections could be seen in buckets. This was a very sad way to live, especially for the young women who liked to think about how pretty they were. There were many of these women in this kingdom, just like in other places. The queen did not care. She was happy to make people feel upset about not having mirrors, just as she felt upset when she saw one. But in a small area outside the city, there was a young girl named Jinta. She was a little happier than other people because of her boyfriend, Valentine. If someone loves you and always tells you that you are beautiful, it is almost as good as having a mirror. "Tell me the truth," Jinta would say to Valentine. "What color are my eyes?" "They are like blue flowers covered in morning dew," Valentine said. "And my skin is not dark, right?" "Your forehead is whiter than snow, and your cheeks are pink like roses," Valentine answered. "What about my lips?" "Cherries are not as red as your lips." "And my teeth?" "Your teeth are whiter than rice grains." "But my ears? Should I be embarrassed about them?" "Yes, if you think two little pink shells among your pretty curls are something to be ashamed of," Valentine said. They talked like this for hours. Jinta loved hearing Valentine's sweet words, and Valentine loved looking at her while he spoke. His words came straight from his heart, and she felt happy when he praised her. Their love grew stronger every day. One day, Valentine asked Jinta to marry him. She blushed, but she was not angry. But, sadly, the news of their love and happiness reached the evil queen. The queen loved to make people suffer, especially Jinta, because she was so beautiful. A little before their wedding, Jinta was walking in the garden one evening. An old woman came to her, asking for food or money. Suddenly, the old woman jumped back and screamed as if she had seen something terrible. "Heavens, what do I see?" the old woman cried. "What's wrong, good lady? What do you see?" "Tell me," Jinta said. "The ugliest person I have ever seen in my life," said the old woman. "Then you are not looking at me," Jinta replied proudly. "Oh, yes, my poor child, I am looking at you. I have been alive for many years, but I have never seen anyone as ugly as you." "What? Am I ugly?" "100 times uglier than I can describe," the old woman said. "But my eyes, They're a dirty gray and worse, they squint terribly. My skin. It looks like you rubbed coal dust on your forehead and cheeks. My mouth. It is pale and dry, like an old, dead flower. My teeth. If big, yellow teeth are beautiful, then yours are the most beautiful I have ever seen. But what about my ears? They can't be so bad. They are huge, red, and badly shaped. They stick out under your messy hair. They are horrible. I am not pretty, but I would be ashamed if I had ears like yours. These were the exact words the queen had told the old woman to say. After saying them, the old woman laughed in a cruel, loud voice and walked away slowly, leaning on her stick. Poor Jacinta. She fell to the ground under the apple trees and cried so hard that her tears soaked the grass. Nothing could make Jacinta stop feeling sad. I am ugly, she said over and over again. Valentine tried again and again to tell her it wasn't true. He promised her in the most serious way, but it was no use. Leave me alone, Jacinta said. You're lying because you feel sorry for me. Now I understand everything. You never loved me. You only feel pity for me. The old woman had no reason to lie to me. What she said is true. I am ugly. I don't know how you can look at me. To help her see the truth, Valentine brought people from many places. Every man said Jacinta was beautiful and wonderful to look at. Even the women agreed, though they were not as excited to say so. But Jacinta did not believe anyone. She was sure she was ugly. When Valentine asked her to pick a date for their wedding, Jacinta cried out, "Me, your wife." Never. I love you too much to make you marry someone as ugly as me. Poor Valentine. He was so in love, and he felt heartbroken. He knelt before her. He begged her. He prayed to her. But Jacinta still said she was too ugly to marry him. What could he do? The only way to prove the old woman was wrong and show Jacinta the truth was to give her a mirror. But there were no mirrors in the kingdom. Everyone was too afraid of the queen to make one. I will go to the queen, Valentine said sadly. She is very cruel, but she must feel pity when she sees Jacinta's tears and beauty. She will let us have a mirror, even for a short time. It was hard for Valentine to convince Jacinta to go with him to the palace. She didn't want anyone to see her. Why would I need a mirror? It will only show me how unlucky I am, she said. But when Valentine cried, her heart softened, and she agreed to go to make him happy. What is this? Asked the wicked queen. Who are these people and what do they want? Your Majesty, I am the most unhappy man in the world, said Valentine. Do you think that is a good reason to bother me? Asked the queen. Please have pity on me, Valentine begged. What does your love problem have to do with me? If you would allow us to use a mirror. At these words, the queen stood up. She was shaking with anger. Who dares to speak of a mirror in my presence? She said, grinding her teeth. Please do not be angry, Your Majesty, Valentine said. Let me explain. This young girl, who is so fresh and lovely, believes she is ugly. She is wrong, but she cannot see the truth. Well, said the queen with an evil smile, she is right. I have never seen anyone so ugly. When Jacinta heard this, her heart broke. She felt so ashamed that she thought she would die. It must be true, she thought. I am ugly. She closed her eyes and fell on the steps of the throne, fainting. Valentine reacted very differently. He shouted loudly, "Your Majesty must be mad to say such a lie." He didn't have time to say more. The queen's guards grabbed him. The queen waved her hand, and the headsman came forward. He always stayed near the queen's throne because she might need him at any moment. "Do your job," said the queen, pointing at Valentine. He had insulted her. The headsman raised his shining axe just as Jacinta woke up and opened her eyes. Suddenly, 2 loud screams filled the room. One was a cry of happiness. In the shiny steel of the axe, Jacinta saw her reflection. She saw how beautiful she really was. The other scream was full of pain. The wicked queen saw her own face in the same reflection. She couldn't bear the sight of her ugliness. Her evil soul left her body, and she died on the spot.